Right folks, welcome to this exciting video where once again, because we're on Islay, we've come to visit another distillery, and this time it's the Laphroaig Distillery. It's one of the only Scottish whiskies which bears the royal coat of arms of Prince Charles, because it's apparently one of his favourite drinks from Scotland here. It's actually a whisky which has got quite a strong peaty flavour, but look at this, I just love all the buildings and the industrial look of it. This is industrial Scotland folks, the purest, finest whisky. They've been making it for 200 years here, from 1815 to 2015 that drum says. And look, this whole wall is covered in different variations of the famous Laphroaig whisky here. So anytime you ever see Laphroaig whisky on a shop shelf near you, you know that it's come from this very building here on this remote Scottish Hebridean island. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, this has got some quotes from people after they've tasted or smelt the whisky. Anyway folks, let's head round and see what we can see. Let's see if I can buy like a t-shirt or a cap or anything like that in the gift shop. This is a no smoking area folks. That's because of the volatile gases it's given off when the whisky's getting made. It's almost like petrol. Look at this, this is a right idyllic little spot here. This is another one of these distilleries which has the white walls with the black writing, which can be seen from boats and ships passing by, because when they used to bring the malted barley and stuff in from the shore, they would bring it directly in through the boat, whereas now they use roads and lorries for that. But that's how they have the black writing on the wall down at the side of the water. Look at this, I love the way that they've got the writing up on the end of the wall here. So cool. And then look at this, I'm going to get a photograph here of the writing. I just feel it's on this wall here, and I'm getting excited to see it folks. Oh, it's not on this wall, it must be further along. It's closed folks, the visitor centre's closed, can you believe? Breaking news on the channel. Look, this is warehouse number 1. This must have been the first ever Laphroaig warehouse in the world. Warehouse number 1 folks. Oh, here we go, look at this. This is what I was looking for. It's the Laphroaig writing on the wall. This is so cool. This is all often like the thing that you see on the drone shots and stuff of places like this, on films and programmes of the Isles. It's always the big black letters and stuff that is everyone's favourite part of the building often. But yeah, it's got a certain character to it. This would have been a massive industrial place in its time, dating back to the early 1800s. You can imagine this would have been some of the biggest industries in Scotland of the time. It still is. The whisky industry is popular, and probably more popular now than it even was like 20 years ago. It's had like a renaissance, if that's the correct word. And there's a lot more people into it now. They're realising there's a whole like culture, and all the different whiskies, there's a different element to them, different flavours and a different character. Even though each of these Islay distilleries are quite near on the same island, it's the process of making the whisky that's different. And it's interesting, the different shapes of their stills or their ingredients or even their processes, it all adds up to the flavour of the whisky at the end in the glass. And it's quite cool because on this Islay trip, if you remember back, we were at the woolen mill. That's where Prince Charles gets the tweed made for whatever he wears as tweed. And also, this is his favourite whisky, so there's a bit of a royal connection here on the island with those two places. And I'm guessing this is some sort of like sewage pipe kind of bit I'm standing on here in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean folks. It is incredible. I don't know if this bit's been built for viewing the Laphroaig sign there, or if literally there's a pipe running out of the building. I think it's most likely a pipeline, to be honest with you. Such a cool, unique angle here of this. Those letters are actually some of the biggest. Out of all the distilleries that we visited, Laphroaig seems to have the biggest letters on their wall. And I just love this angle here of the building, overlooking this beautiful bay. You can see the far reaching corners of Islay in the distance, and it's so still. And this whole week for our holiday here, the weather's just been perfect. There is slight breeze now and again, but hey, this is a Scottish Hebridean island, folks. It is actually a warm breeze. But a lot of the distillery tours and stuff's off just now because of the whole COVID situation, but I'm just going to do my best to come and video what I see. When we visit these distilleries, I'll just do my best to show you my take on them. Even if it's down at the water's edge, just looking at the buildings and stuff. It's still cool. It's a little bit of Scottish history, folks, and you can actually taste Laphroaig. You can go and get a bottle of it from the shop and you'll get an idea of what is produced from this distillery. I've just literally seen a fish in the water there. Did you see that fish? There was literally a fish right there and it just moved right along. The water looks quite green and algae like here, but I believe the waste products from the distillery may be flowing out here. Maybe once the water's been cooling the stills, it maybe just gets pumped back out here. Some of them's got a cooling pond and that, but when they're next to the sea, they can use the seawater till their heart's content, folks, because look, there's plenty of it. I can see fish jumping around in here. This is cool. They're probably never coming out on camera as usual. When I try and record wildlife, you can't actually ever see it. You just have to take my word for it, folks. Maybe one day I'll get a bigger camera with a zoom lens and I'll have to come back to Islay, because it truly is an island of wildlife, history and natural beauty. And then add to that the whisky scene. It's a real special place. It's the spirit of the Isles, folks. And this is it. Whisky is the spirit of the Isles. I just came around the far end of the beach here just to get another view of this massive Laphroaig sign. Whenever I've watched videos of Islay before I came here, you often see this, and it's so cool to be standing here looking at it now. And I might have to have a little whisky when I get back to the house, because why not when you're on Islay, folks? All this grass has been bonny kept here. Well, here we look around the end of here. I'm not sure if you're meant to, folks, but hey, let's get some exclusive content here on the channel. Look at this old gate. Wow. See, here's a bit of history with the whisky, folks. When the whisky's sitting in the barrels, whether it be a rum barrel or a sherry barrel, it actually sweats. And that sweat of the whisky evaporating through the barrel stains all the walls this colour. But the interesting thing, if you look, all the trees here are also stained pure black on the wood from the wind. It must blow the evaporated whisky across. I'll have to get a photo of this for this angle, folks. Look at that. It's just like industrial Scotland, and you can tell a building like that's got so much character with the colour on the whitewash. So I think with this being warehouse number 1, this is probably one of the oldest warehouses on the site here. And quite often the whisky can sit in these warehouses for, depends whatever it is in the bottle, 18 years it can be, sometimes even more. You get some 25-year-olds and stuff like that, and like, it does evaporate. The older the whisky is, the less that ends up being in the cask, and that's the reason you get the black walls on the warehouses. This wall would be the same if they didn't regularly paint it, but that's how you can tell if a shed is actually a whisky warehouse or just a normal tatty shed here in Scotland. But an interesting thing, that's the first time I've seen even the trees changing colour with the whisky vapour. But there we go. It was definitely worth looking down the far side of the building there. And look, now we're walking alongside these massive letters. It's just massive, massive. So like, even if you were probably out at sea like a mile or more, these massive letters would be visible. quite cool. Let's head back around here and see what we see. What's this at the side of the wall here? Is this some ancient device for rolling about a whisky barrel? Oh no, I can't what this is. It's an old boat anchor. Maybe at one time they had boats and stuff coming up here to collect the whisky, and they would have brought it out the warehouse door here, down the pier, onto the boats, and then away to the mainland, to the parties of the time. Yeah, this must just be like some little sorting room or something of its time. It's just like an empty warehouse building now. Looks like a fish tank or something there, maybe a display cabinet. Yeah, this has maybe been used as a wee storage shed, I think. Back in the 1800s, they would have stored the barrels which were ready for shipping. And then once the ship came in, they would have gotten somebody, one of the workers would have carried them, loaded the ships up, and then out they would have gone to the sea. Pretty cool. Pretty interesting as well, folks. Another thing around here, you can just smell the whisky in the air here. It's got that strong alcohol-like smell to it. You can almost taste it. Look at this. This must be where some of the water or whatever comes out after the cooling process has taken place. Maybe the water returns back out here to the sea. Yeah, what a cool building. Look at this then, folks. On the wall of warehouse number 1, we've got the royal crest here of Prince Charles, Prince of Wales. By appointment to His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, distiller and supplier of single malt Scotch whisky, D. Johnson & Co, Laphroaig, Dumbarton. And then look at that, you can see the crest on the wall. It's another interesting wee bit of history there with this Laphroaig Distillery. And then I would think probably nowadays there's tons and tons of trucks and stuff just constantly in and out of here. A place like this will just be making whisky day and night, 24 hours a day, and there's just crazy amounts of money in it. Like, they make a fair bit of cash out of the whisky, I think, folks. Right, folks, that's been a cool little walkabout here at Laphroaig. We've looked at the buildings. That's all we could see today, unfortunately. We're a wee bit late in coming in the boot. We were going to go to the visitor centre and that, but I just love seeing the old buildings. I can actually see there's an old clock on the wall down there. It's probably been there since the 1800s when this place was first built. But anyway, I'll end this short little video here, folks. That's been the Laphroaig Distillery. If I get anything cool out of the gift shop tomorrow here, you might see that in a future video, but I'll end this one here. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you very soon in the next one.